Alright everybody, it is Saturday or Sunday morning, but then again you already know that by the fact that you're listening to this. And it is Contin back at it again. And we are going into the new episode of Coffee with Contin. So, as always, let's go ahead and get this pulled up here, see what we're looking at. We are on the 19th cup, it looks like. Interesting. So, that in mind, looking over, I'm a little surprised, honestly. Would have thought that by now we would have probably had more than 21 subscribers, but again, not really all that concerned by it. I'm not really concerned making this like a full-time profession or anything, like I've said numerous times. So, it is what it is. And I know that there are a couple of people that listen to all the videos, and for you 3 to 4 that there are, you know I appreciate you, you know I love you. So, things have been, I'll say, a little bit rocky for me the last week. Just overall feeling like crap. My arms have been killing me since this past Wednesday when I went to the gym. They are finally starting to hit the last stages of healing up. Still having some pain, not really pain so much as fatigue and soreness more than anything else in my elbow. Now it's a little hard to really explain, but basically right here on the elbow where it comes up at the very top here, right at the very edge of the joint. That's a little weird, don't mind me on that. But yeah, that right about where my rotator cuffs are, that's a little bit sore as well, but it's to be expected when it's been months since I've worked out. So, as I've said before, pain is nothing but weakness leaving the body. So, I'm getting used to it. It's something that I'm going to have to deal with, as I have brought this on myself. So there's that. I'm kind of rambling already at this point, don't mind me. Now, I'd mentioned before, I don't know if it was just to you, Lillian, or to other people as well. We are getting very close to a special episode of the history of Draco. We have a couple of, I don't want to say insignificant, but less significant members in the family line. More than anything, it's kind of like they're part of the tree kind of deal. Because I honestly, a lot of the lore that you've been hearing about these characters is mostly things that I've just kind of fleshed out in the time between videos, if I'm being 100% honest. There are some details that have been there for the last, 20 years. But there are things like it, for example, being Vlad's idea to raise Mara from the depths of from the surface of the planet to serve as a dragon. I don't know why my voice cut out on me. To serve as a dragon sanctuary. That is a new detail toward the lore. Initially, the individual who had come up with the idea and I had just stated that during the war that had been going on, that we wanted that chunk of area to be lifted up. It's funny how people can bounce back and forth, bounce ideas off of one another. Initially, I just said, "Oh, by the way, there is this floating kingdom," and things kind of evolved from there. And that effectively is how Mara came into being. There are, funnily enough, I mentioned in one of the previous videos, I think it was either the Rendrig follow-up or the initial, no, I think it was the Rendrig follow-up, about each of the Draco members of the family that rise to the throne having to set up a new Valley of Dragons. That... Actually, let me back up just a second here. Lillian, obviously, you already know you were part of it. But for those who are listening who don't know, the Draco family started close to closing in on 18 years ago as a role-playing group. At the time, we actually didn't even have the last name of Draco. It was just a collection of people hanging out and talking, things like that. We had decided we wanted to be a family, and since I was the initial male figurehead, obviously I was the father of the family, which is funny considering the fact that of all of the 21 children that Contin has, there's only one of them, Melchior, who I will be going over in a later video when I actually do finally get to Contin on the family line. Melchior is the only one in real life that is actually older than me. And we talked back and forth for about 15-20 minutes over, I want to say it was in a private message or over the phone. No, actually, at that point, he and I hadn't started talking over the phone yet. We had started talking a private message about that, and I think we went back and forth for about 20 minutes. And he agreed for me to be the head of the family, which, I'm going to be 100% honest, he would have been blue in the face and probably 6 feet under before he ever got me to agree to be the kid. It was my idea, and there was no way I was going to be the one that was bowing to somebody else like that. So, yeah, there's that. What was the point of me bringing that up, actually? My mind just kind of went blank thinking about Mel. Crap, give me a second. So that took longer than I care to admit to remember. It's probably been about 4 or 5 minutes in that little blip that you caught. Basically what I was saying, that the Draco family is going on close to 18 years old as a unit. And we had started out as a role-playing family. I kind of went over a little bit about the formation, which is actually very funny because there are several founding members of the Draco family that are actually no longer associated to it in any capacity. There was Contin's sister Erica, there was his brother Sadi, there was I want to say that Celeste was a cousin kind of thing. I don't remember. I kind of... Celeste is actually a very weird one. She, while in the role-playing setting, she was a cousin or something like that. The initial individual who had been the female head of the family went by the name of Rose online. It was like Rosebud 727 or some crap like that. I don't remember. I just remember it was Rosebud something. She and I had actually been together in real life for about a week and a half. And no, I'm sorry, I'm getting details mixed up in my head. We had been together close to a month in real life. Just online, we would talk over the phone and things like that. Come to find out that no, I was correct. It was about a week and a half, 2 weeks, close to that. Come to find out that she had, without deciding to say anything to me, had left me and gone to be with her husband's brother. And in that same week she had left me for her husband's brother, wound up back with her husband officially. So that was a whole convoluted mess. Come to find out, I want to say it was like 6 years down the line, she and I had actually gotten back in touch. She had reached out, we were talking for a little bit, and she had indicated that that was her biggest regret, is that she had let me go. Now, mind you, I'm not saying this like to brag or anything like that. Just, it's simple fact, it happened. Now, Celeste, I had brought that story with Rose up because Celeste, when Rose left, Celeste had made it very clear that she had a thing for me. I didn't actually know it at the time. Gaius, who was one of the original core family members, was at the time just about the only female family member who apparently didn't have a thing for me. I don't know what was going on or how I wound up managing to find about 3 women all simultaneously that all had a thing for me. Still don't understand that. But Celeste was a very short-lived relationship. I want to say that one, because it was even shorter than with Rose, I want to say that was 2-3 days before Lucy, who was the third individual, made it very plain that she, honestly, I don't remember exactly how she worded it, but she made it very plain she wanted to be with me. And considering that I barely got to talk to Celeste, she, to the best of my knowledge, she still to this day lives in Australia. I barely got to talk to Celeste, and it was not long before I was seeing the same signs with her that I did with Rose. Only come to find out that when I did actually see Celeste again, she had been mentioning that she'd been in the hospital. which I kind of feel bad about, but at the same time, there was no warning, no attempt whatsoever to reach out, let us know what was going on. I know she was in the hospital, she said, but it was never actually anything serious before you start judging me. I think she just got like pneumonia or something like that, and she was relatively healthy, so there was no real danger to her. But so that went down the way it did, and I spent the next close to 10 years with Lucy. We had spent a lot of time building up the family lore and such. There were I'm not even going to go into some of the things that occurred, obviously, because you guys don't want to hear about that. Lillian, you already know. We've talked about some of that at length, actually, very recently. Suffice it to say that what I'm referring to could be summed up as just very... How do I want to word it? What word do I want to use? Very not safe for work kind of deal. We'll leave it at that. But yeah, we fleshed out a lot of characters. We added I want to say close to probably another 40 characters into the lore of the story, which I will say now my brain hurts from trying to keep that all separate, trying to keep everything straight, which is kind of funny because looking back, I used to have no trouble remembering everything at the drop of a hat, but then again, we were doing this kind of thing daily after everybody got off of work and things like that. Lillian pointed out to me recently that I was the last person she would have expected to need any kind of book for keeping facts, which is actually kind of funny because I never would have thought that myself. But there are surprisingly, of the 50 plus characters that I was playing simultaneously, of which there was regular interaction with celebrity characters, I call them. There was Foamy the Squirrel, Dante from Devil May Cry. I played Sephiroth at one point. I was playing Apollo at one point. I was playing Fenrir, the wolf son of Loki from Norse mythology. I was playing Ra, the Egyptian sun god. Just to name a couple of them. Arthas Menethil from World of Warcraft, the Lich King. I had a lot of celebrity characters that I played, and the funniest part is that of all of them, I was told that Dante was the one that I was most convincing as, considering the fact that the person who said that had a deep crush on Dante, which is kind of funny. And I'm going to be 100% honest with you, I don't know why I'm just spilling my guts like this. I don't know what opened that floodgate, but... So yeah, there have been a lot of details that have been added very recently to the lore of the story. For example, the initial Dragon Blade, the Master Blade, being broken into 6, that is within the last year, I want to say it was, that detail was implemented into the lore. There are other things that are very old to the story, which I will not really go over too much here, because I haven't talked about it in History of Draco yet. So do be prepared, there are things coming up. However, this whole thing was basically started because I mentioned that some of the characters are just there. I don't really have lore for them. I may, for the couple of characters coming up that are like that, I may just kind of lump them all together. Kind of like a so-and-so begot so-and-so and what have you, like from Genesis and the Bible. Not to even equate myself to that, but just, you kind of understand what I'm meaning. Just, there was a couple of people in a row that really had no bearing on the overall story. Although I may, if I do that, I may just come back to them later on. If I'm going to do that, I will, if I have to, I'll create lore specifically for the characters, so that they're not just a bump on a log kind of deal. But the last episode was of Vlad. I will be posting a follow-up on that, since that was only a couple of minutes long, as opposed to how long most of them usually are. I believe Vakrius is the next in line after Vlad. Vakrius is going to be a fun one to go over, and I'll explain that later in that actual video. I may not, when it comes to the characters, I may not actually just do the follow-up episode immediately after the individual. I may go a couple generations down and then kind of backtrack a little bit. Still not sure exactly how I'm going to handle that. Vakrius is one of the special characters I had alluded to earlier in the video. He, for multiple reasons, he sets off kind of a chain reaction with the family. Vakrius is a very important character, even well after he leaves the throne. But I'm going to stop. I don't want to spoil anything for the video. So, that being said, let me know in the comments down below what your... I don't really want to mix the two series together in any capacity, but I think I'm actually going to on this one. Let me know down below, out of the characters that I've introduced thus far, the names that you've heard me use, who is the most interesting to you from the information I've already given out, or who is the most interesting sounding based off of the name alone. Because I will be happy at some point in the future to kind of go over and do special episodes just of the fan favorite characters. Also, keep a lookout in the next episode of the History of Draco, not only for the story, for the lore that I'm going to be giving, but by that time I should have the All About Draco Discord channel up and ready for public access, just because it's a lot easier for me to do that than go and, okay, I got this group, I got this group, I got this group, and I got this group, and I got this group, all to post the link for the new video in, and then there's like 8 other people in total for me to post the link to. So keep an eye out for that. Once the Discord is ready to go, I will be leaving the link for it in the description of the videos as a permanent link. So that being said, I'm going to go ahead and end the video here. No matter where it is you are in the world, whether you're up north in the Great White Blanket, all the way on the West Coast, all the way on the East Coast, in a different country altogether. You have a great night, a great day, wherever you are. I love you. I appreciate you. And hopefully you have a great night.